were stored when they were salted. And they'd keep them there for winter. It looks like a lot of prisons. It was. The families were huge. To give you an idea, there was a 2 up, 2 down in the old village where they had 16 children. They had no shoes and not enough clothes to go around. So starvation didn't get them, illness did, so the turnover was phenomenal. Very, very tough times. This is that second chapel here, 1836 completed. It's a lovely building, and inside it has the balcony. It's still there. You can go up and have a look there. And the organ, the original organ, is right in the middle. So you can have a peek at that. And the building itself, the construction of the building, is exactly as it was in 1836. The pillars are there exactly as it was. So it's, again, it's a bit of a time warp. It's a fabulous little cafe and a gift shop with all other things. But it's well worth having a look around and going up on the balcony if you can. Come on through to the Look over here, folks, because this is Bert's restaurant here, and you can see where the camera goes there on the plinth there. And look how narrow the patio is. So it really does need the make it look a bit bigger. So a few extra tables and chairs does the job. If you need the camera from the other end, you show that outcomes and the building itself wasn't used for actually filming the food scenes. So it was a real shame when it finished because it was an iconic building in its own way and a bit unusual as well. But Ian McNeice is very good because he carries around the green bucket all the time. And anybody who wants a selfie, a signature, or if the girls want to kiss and cuddle, it's a pound into the bucket for the RNLR, for the boat. We raised £2,500 in the centre of each who was here. And Martin and Philippa give 2% of the marketing proceeds to a committee in the village for good causes. So it's all sort of being given back in the right way. So it suits everybody on both sides. Yeah. Very hot and present, but you can get a rainy day just as easily. So it's nothing's down to you.
Really?
Okay, about here, folks, will do fine. So let's wait for everybody to come on up through. Of course, you see Martin zooming up and down here. He has a personal trainer, one-to-one, so he keeps pretty fit. And you think he started in his early 30s and now he's in his 50s, so he's been doing it for quite a while. So this is where we wait, just tucked in there, when we're involved in the current scene or the next one. So just wait in there, and the first time I was called to do anything up here was when the lady doctor was here, and I was tucked in there with the next patient to go in, tucked in there with Buddy the dog and the trainer, and Martin is storming up the hill here with his suitcases to come and replace the lady doctor, because she was no good. So as she passes, the trainer said, "Mike, watch this." So I said, "Okay." And as Martin stormed by, she just snapped her fingers, and Buddy timed his run behind Martin up the steps and arrived at the front door at exactly the same time as Martin. He had to do one take. The dog is the best actor of all. Though Martin is kicking, screaming, shouting at him all the time, they're the best of friends. The dog knows it's an actor, and he never makes mistakes. It's the humans that do that.
That's amazing.
There was a great scene in Series 9 where he's Louisa is chasing him down the hill. And so how do you get him to run down the hill? Well, obviously the trainer was outside making plain nuts where we started, calling him Dodger, Dodger, because that's his name. And Louisa is shouting, Buddy, Buddy. So the poor old dog says, well, which is So to hear both names being shouted out at the same time was quite amusing. It really was. But he's an incredible dog and very, very well trained. Yep. Just let one come through here. Yep. Now, do you remember Sigourney Weaver?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, great story because she's a lifelong friend of Mrs. Tishel's, and they were at drama school together. So she said, "Oh, I'd love to be on the programme." So she introduced her to Martin and Philippa, and they said, "Well, we'd love to have you on the programme, but we couldn't afford you. You're a top actress in the world." And she said, "I'll just do it. I don't want any money. I'll just do it." So they flew her over, and she played the part of Beth the backpacker. And she has an argument with Mrs. Tishel, and then an argument with Martin about some tablets that she wants and he won't give her.
Oh, yes.
But it worked so well that they called her back for Series 8, and she had a bigger part. She was here for about 3.5 weeks, and she integrated into the village really, really well, and had a quiz night up on the top there, and she got involved in that. And one of the questions was an obscure question about Alien, which obviously only she could answer. Well, she duly did, and everybody went, "What? How are we supposed to know the answer to that?" So she got up and bowed. So what a great lady. I mean, she's absolutely super. And of course, she could still come back for Series 10. She wasn't involved in Series 9, I think she was working. But Series 10, she could come back on her sort of biannual visit as Beth the backpacker, because she's got that little part now. But grand lady, yeah. And lovely for our American friends to have a little foothold in a super program.
Yes,
Yeah. Come on up.
Das war das, ja. Die so, ich mach's, ich nehm kein Geld.
It's obviously let today, so we have to be a little bit circumspect about what we do. So this is the Doc's house, and all we do is come in and out of the front door, of course. Okay. So we block off both rooms to either side so that you can't tell what's happening, because these rooms bear no. It's only a little 2-bed cottage, so you wouldn't be able to know otherwise. So these have all been changed. This was slate and it was breaking up, so this was changed into lovely cobbles now over the last winter. And of course we take the chains down when we're actually filming. Mm-hmm. Now, do you remember the bevy of girls who are always here?
Always coming.
They're always here because they stalk him. They wait for him here because they know they catch him at the surgery. And we film from the top window of the White House up there. So the angle and the height of that window is absolutely perfect for road shots. Now those girls, we change them every series because they get 2 years older. So they wear the same things and they say the same things, unfortunately, but we have auditions for them. And I think Series 6 we had auditions for them up on the top there, and anybody else who wanted to do on the Saturday, and a room full of babies on the Sunday for the new baby for Series 6. So from those babies managed to get about a dozen. So we had 3 sets of twins and 6 others with their mothers, and we had 3 on at any one time. So we had a laugher, a crier, and one that could go either way. And if one started squawking, you pull that one out and run along the line and try and find one that wasn't, bring it back, and the girls would be helping, and they'd bring it back here. So you've got a great team of girls helping the mothers to get it all sorted out. You can only leave them on for a few seconds at a time, so you're constantly changing them and trying to get them in the right mood and keep them in the right mood to then do the actual scene was a nightmare. They say don't work with animals and children, but they work with both, and logistically it is a nightmare. So that was the most difficult one. But by the time we got to Series 7, none of those babies were any good. Facially they'd all changed, so they got 3 more looking about right, and that worked okay. But by the time they got to Series 8, of course you're talking about toddlers. So we had to sort of have a different approach to that, and so that's what we ended up with. A pair of identical twins. They're lovely. Yeah, do take a photograph if you want to. This was a spoof thing that Martin did up at the studio. They look a bit like him actually, don't they? Sort of, so it's very good casting. And I wondered whether they may have sort of paid them a retainer to hang around in the hope that they could be used again. But I think the growth spurt would have been too much in the year and a half. So they followed it on from the last year. So these would be too big now, these guys. Now, do you remember Morwenna's waiting room? Her desk is in one corner, and the next patient to go in diagonally across by the door to go into his place, in a chair there with a barometer clock thing up above. Yeah. And I was sitting in that about 3 series ago, looking out at that view over there, up in the studio, and I'm thinking, well, how have they done that? Up there. So when we finished the scene, I went and had a look and realised superimposed them on the studio wall with the exact angle, width, depth, proportions, everything on the back wall. And it was covered in the finest of fine nettings and had lighting for every hour of the day or night you could possibly want. So it's full of stuff like this. So you've got stunt people, you've got stunt helicopters, and anything that's required to do the series. Now, just to finish off, folks, we just beat the rain. Hopefully, can you tell me who that is?
It's Louisa.
Louisa. All
It's
agree.
Louisa.
Yep,
Yeah.
fine. Okay. And this one, maybe not quite. How about a
Not
stunt
quite.
double? Yeah. Stunt double there, yeah. We'll forget him for the moment. And this one here, which is also part of the scene. Now the scene is, Martin is giving out the medals on sports day, and he throws a wobbly as he always does, and he shoots off in a temper. She's furious with him, and she chases him, of course. And she chases him out into the road, but of course she's far too valuable to lose. So she peels off, and the stunt lady takes the hit with the car, for which she's very well paid. Now this is the top stuntman in the world. He does James Bond and all the big stuff because it was such a dangerous scene. They had to have the top man organising it. Now this is where it gets interesting because that is the dummy. And the dummy is standing in the road, and the dummy gets the full hit of the car
Yeah.
at full speed.
Oh.
So here's the dummy being prepared.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh.
And here we have the fishing wire coming from her head up to an arm there, going out into a field. And we've got a better shot here, I think. Yeah, so coming up there with the arm going right out into a field, out of camera shot, of course. Him putting the final bits and pieces to her before that car hits her. So she takes it full pelt. Then we go back to this one, and she gets hit at half the speed. Okay, she works together with the guy in the car, and so he knows how hard to hit her. But he did hit her quite hard because she flew up onto the bonnet, crashed into the windscreen, and cracked the windscreen. And then flew up in the air and went down again. And they do say that he rushed up to her then and said, "Stay down there, love. They'll pay a bit more money." Got her out of the way and put Louisa. She was fine, and got Louisa back in the road and carried on as if nothing had happened. Now look what she's wearing there. Her trousers there, and look what she's wearing there. You see, much padded out.
Yeah,
so she's got
there's
all
like
this
a lot
padding
wider.
there. So very clever how they do it. As I say, it's full of things like this going on all the time. So now it's. We're all guilty, aren't we, sort of looking at our TVs, and we either like something or we don't, but we don't always appreciate what goes into it to get it to our screens.
Yeah.
So if we've been able to give you a little bit of an idea of the trials and tribulations that they have in order to get it into a washable form for us to see, it's maybe done some of its job. And the other thing is that, of course, having been around the village and seen all the locations, you'll never look at the series again in the same light. Hopefully it should add to your enjoyment when you watch it again. That's me done. Thanks very much.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brilliant.